Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your host, your friend, Dharam Singh, and I'm very, very happy and privileged to bring my another guest, a new guest, new year. By the way, Happy New Year to everyone. It is so exciting to have Samuel as my first guest of the year, and I'm sure we're going to do, and he's going to do justice to your time. This is a very exciting topic, and he has been talking or preparing for about this topic. So I'm really looking forward to listen to his point of view about many questions I have. So thank you, Samuel, for joining this exciting webinar, and thank you all the people joining today. I'm really looking forward to add some value to you. So Samuel, anything what do you want to say? Welcoming.
Yeah, first and foremost, I thank Dharam for the invite for this webinar. So yeah, so basically I'm one of his so-called students in terms of the PgMP. So yeah, with the invite from Dharam to have a discussion on this decoding the technical project manager with the rest of the questions that I can try my best to answer them accordingly as well. So do feel free to raise questions if you need to. Thank you, Dharam.
Great. Thank you very much. And guys, if you have any questions, anything you like to ask, you know, some of you are joining again, so you know what to do. You put the question on the question pad. More questions will make this session more exciting, and you will be feeling more engaged. So please feel free to write as many questions as you can, and you can put a message in chat if you want to send a message to me only or to everyone. But yeah, on the chat I have put 2 links. You know, if you have watched previously, that's okay, but this is about how to get your PgMP or PfMP started or talking about the journey. So you can download that. If you don't see that message, you let me know. And I also have put a link, and you can go to copy and paste that link. This is where some of the chapters, you know, or if you fall in particular category, you may be able to get some discount for my programs. So I will talk more about at later stage, but not now. But if you can visit and see if you're part of one of the chapters around the world, I have 3 chapters relationship with them, you might be able to save up to 20% discount. Or you're coming from you're a serviceman, you know, of your country, doesn't matter which country, you will be able to save some money. And as a woman, professional, or if you are physically or any disability you have, you know, it's kind of recognizing something we can help from our side. So please feel free to and let me know, Dharam, I want to join your program, and this is what my situation is. I will be happy to help you out. Anyway, so guys, I do have a PDU code, and this is approved PDU code. And sometimes happen that I'm running the program, I don't have PDU code ready. But this time PDU code is ready, and I will share it with you at a later time, when somewhere halfway through a later part, so that you can claim 1 PDU from this event. And other than claiming PDU, I know many people come for PDU, but more important is what are we going to learn today from Samuel. So once again, Samuel, thank you. So Samuel is coming with lots of experience, especially in the data center, cloud, and many of you are involved in that. So yes, Samuel mentioned he did PgMP program with me, and he passed the exam on 31st of August 2022, last year. Okay, it's a few days back is the last year. And yeah, he got about target result, and he can talk about his journey. I will let him to speak about what he did. But yeah, currently he's based out of Singapore, and he has many other certificates. He's coming from ST Engineering, Singapore-based company with the 20+ years experience in providing objective and customer-oriented project management, customer support, technical support management, and operations processes. So yeah, and Samuel, you feel free to talk about your background and tell us more about your PgMP journey.
Yeah, okay. So let me share my PgMP journey. So I started this way back in 2020. So of course, with PgMP in mind, there's quite a fair bit of submission in terms of all the questions back to PMI, in terms of the strategies, in terms of all the programs experience that I have. So I spent close to about 3 to 6 months working on the questions, replying back to PMI. So to be honest, I got rejected about 3 times. It's on the 4th submission that I managed to clear the first hurdle, which is the proposal or discussion on in terms of all the strategy question that's being raised by PMI. So having said that, with that clear, I move on into getting the preparation for the exam questions. So that is pretty rough ride for me because I do not know exactly what to do, who to look for, what should I be studying. So I did a research on internet, kept some of the documents in terms of the books and so on to read. After reading, I did some dumb questions and I proceed to do the test about close to 6 months later after my studying. So sad to say, I failed in all my 3 occasions in terms of the attempt to clear the PgMP. So that's when I need to look for someone to really coach me and to mentor in a way to really, to ensure that my understanding and my approach is correct. So it just happened that I managed to get to Dharam, and Dharam is a very nice mentor and a coach. He gave me a call right back within that 15 minutes when I put a text back to him. So he called me back, even though he's based in Dallas, and he asked me, Samuel, what's the problem? What exactly happened? So I did mention to him that, I've already done 3 occasions in terms of the exam, and I need to redo the entire process all over again, which means to submit the strategy planning and so forth, and also to redo the exam again. So with that, Dharam did a favor. He wrote an email back to PMI to check, can we fasten this waiting period of 1 year before I can start the whole entire process. So within that week or so, PMI replied that I'm given a chance to retake the exam, and the last date of the exam will be on 31st August 2022. So with that, we have a very short runway, which is about approximately 3 months to get it all worked out. So thanks to Dharam, we have a one-to-one kind of a session on the weekly basis for that 2 to 3 months. And Dharam also shared with me in terms of the books that I should be reading, the links for the question that I should be practicing. So with that, I managed to clear the exam on the 31st August. I would say flying colors, but for the 5 domains that I have, I would say 3 are above target, 1 below, and 1 on target. So that's basically how I fared compared to the previous 3 sessions where I get all, which is needs improvement, which is totally, to me, I would say not acceptable. But having said that, yeah, it's really thanks to Dharam for giving me the opportunity to work with him to really understand how things are being developed, and in terms of the domain knowledge and understanding, I managed to clear with him on certain so-called misalignment of mine, and somehow, yeah, I did well, and I managed to clear the PgMP paper. So that took me a 3-month period to really focus and get it done right. So once again, thanks Dharam for that. Yeah, so that is the journey for the PgMP certification. Yeah.
So Samuel, thank you. I like to appreciate you for 2 things. One is you tried 3 times and you didn't pass, and you have no hesitation to call it out, because some people say don't talk about that. I don't want to be seen as failure. The important thing is you don't, you're failed if once you give up. But if you, the thing is that you keep trying. After you 3 attempts, you never give up. So that I'm prepared to wait for 1 year. I'm going to apply again. So somehow I was managed to convince PMI, and that you got a extension for your exam, so you don't have to pay for extra fees, and fees are required, but you don't have to wait for 1 year. And the second thing is, yes, you have attitude of not giving up, which is not many people have. Some people say, I tried once, I don't want to do it again. It's too hard for me, and then they give up. So that's why I want to appreciate you for that, and thank you for trusting me and allowing me to contribute to your journey. And when you send me a message that I passed with this is my result, I was very, very happy to see that. Of course, your success is my success, and I feel that way. And I'm glad you made it. You don't have to wait for 1 year to repeat the exam and repeat. So one thing I like to tell, yes, you want to try it out, But last year, I got 21 people came to me. They tried at least once this exam. One person came to me, 3 is nothing actually. One person came to me after 5 attempts, believe it or not. But I'm glad to see all 21 of them after 3, 4. I mean, yours. I think we took it's a time because you don't want to do that. But most of them, we completed the exam in 4 to 6 weeks after the joining of the group. So guys, this exam PgMP PfMP is is doable. First of all, it's doable. But if you try to work it out by yourself and do this and basic things, let me save some money here and there. In the end, you end up saving more money and more frustration, and you start doubting yourself. The journey should be: I'm going to learn out of that, and I'm going to feel excited getting my certification. So yeah, once again, I'd like to thank you for trusting me, giving me a chance to help you out. Thank you for that.
No problem. For me, it's my pleasure because with your guidance and experience, I think the students did well.
And okay, guys, can somebody tell me if you can hear me out and you can hear us all right, and you can see us, because we don't know if you are able to see us or hear us. I'm assuming you can, but if they can say or put in the question something, yes, we can, or hi, hello, that's good. Okay. So Samuel, I have a few questions for you. Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I can see lots of familiar names. Some people have coming again. I can see a few people. One person from Melbourne or Sydney. He already did PgMP. He already done PgMP. So yeah, great to see you coming back. Fantastic. So Samuel, as I said, we have a few questions for you, and the questions. And we got some audience question as well. And as I said, guys, please feel free to put your questions. Happy to have your questions. And if you can't answer, if Samuel can answer, I can't answer, definitely we'll come back to you at a later time. But let's make it as interactive as possible. All right. So Samuel, my first question, of course, the topic today is decoding the technical project manager. So we have two types of project managers. One is technical project managers. Of course, so you need to have some technical background when you're running a particular project. So that's why it is technical project manager. And nowadays, technical project managers are in more demand because the organization expects you have some background in that particular technology you're going to work in. Let's say you're working in the data center, cloud, or cyber security, and those areas. Yes, you can. As a construction manager, can you work in this? Probably not. Or you can say, "Hey, what's the difference in the scoping, risk, requirement?" No. They like to have some previous background of working in that area, and that will add more value to your profile, along with your certification and your experience. Anyway, anything else, Samuel, before we get started on the questions?
No.
Yeah, perfect. So how to bridge gap between technological advancement and human experiences?
Well, you can see nowadays the technology are ever evolving. So I mean, the only constant now is change itself. You can see every now and then new technologies coming up, popping up. Initially, you can look at it is all the Cisco set domain dominate in terms of all the infrastructure. So you can see all the hardwares and necessary that's popping up. So with that, you see, as it goes on, cloud came into the picture, and you can see that technology is evolving around the globe. So in order to stay relevant to the particular industry that we are working on, we seriously need to be constantly learning. So that is more important, to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. So this is the process of, to make ourselves, I I mean, for technical PM, we don't need to be the expert or so-called the domain expert in that area, but at least we should have the basic understanding before we can execute in terms of the projects. So that's why myself, even though I'm PgMP certified, I'm also getting myself certified in AWS as well. I'm also certified in terms of Microsoft Azure as well, trying to get more in terms of that. As right now, the industry is really evolving around cloud, all the multi-cloud platform, be it AWS, Azure, Google, Alibaba, all these, they are all doing that. So learning is important. So learning become a strategy that is inclusive by making all the experience be on-site training, all these things need to be done. So in order to get this learning to be done up, I would say that all the PMs really need to know the basic in terms of what are the so-called technology that's coming up and coming, so that they can really input more valuable experience, valuable knowledge back to the team, so that the team with the technical solution architect will be able to communicate easily with the technical project managers, so that the project will run effectively and efficiently. So yeah, I would say that need to be done, and of course the learning need to be inclusive as well, so that this will create I would say it will be creating more awareness for the PM to also to liaise on with all the technical engineers, the tech lead as well, so that they understand what exactly is being communicated downstream, so that the engineers will be able to know how to execute the job accordingly. Yeah. So learning is what I would say that critical in this portion. Yeah.
Yeah, I can relate with that because I have worked for HP, and I was responsible for setting up cloud data center for at the Asia Pacific level for the HP in 2010. And when I started, cloud was new, very new. I have no idea about cloud. I have done data center projects and data center migration or whatever, but I didn't know anything other than the cloud as a fluffy thing in the sky. But it is important when, yes, I took the program and I was given that opportunity, but it was very in start it was a little early for me, because if I have to work with a network engineer and they're talking in terms of some network language, I was not getting anything out of that.
Yeah.
But I don't say it's a disadvantage totally, but it's good to have that some background knowledge in the technological. Whether it's a certification, you do some certificates in Azure or AWS, if that can help you, or maybe working experience, whatever.
Yep.
But the most important thing, keep an eye on the new technology, emerging technologies, and never know. The current technology in 5 years' time may not be there. So if you're not keeping yourself up to date with the new technology, maybe you're left behind, and then you said, why I'm not getting what I should be. And
yes.
Yeah. All right, good.
Sorry? No, I mean, that's why, as I indicate, learning is important in this perspective, because as you learn more, you'll be able to understand the technology even better. Yeah. So
exactly.
How it is. Yeah.
So, okay, good. Thank you. So my next question for you, Samuel, is how to manage complex technical projects in hybrid modeling. Technical complex projects in hybrid modeling.
Wow, this is a pretty good question. Okay, I would say I've managed such in my 20 years of working as a PM, I have encountered a few complex kind of technical projects, which I think we have to break them down into smaller pieces. Because right now there's a lot of projects running. There could be infrastructure, software development, there will be cloud-based infra, enterprise, or be organization change management kind of projects going on. So with that done, so in the bigger projects, in terms of the complex one, there would be likelihood all considered into a program. So within a program, usually what we would do, or I would do, is that to split them up into smaller pieces, to distribute out accordingly to those subject matter experts to look at it. So I will be the main point of so-called the main PM to really look after to ensure that for every different kind of track, there will be a PM to manage that particular track to ensure that is being done in accordance. Because in complex project, there will be I would say network, there will be security, there will be cloud, there will be server system and so forth. So all these need to be split into very various track to be track in terms of the timeline, the development. How can we better collate them together to meet the overall timeline, so that at the end of the day, this entire program meets the timeline together with the scope of the user and also within the budget that we have planned for. But having said that, it's not as easy as that in terms of the track, because various track there has various kind of discussion, and to manage that, well, the program manager need to be very clear on what is exactly happening for all the various track. So there need to be a lot of focus in order to run this proper. So having said that, yeah, there will be a lot of discussion, internal, external, meetings, or the steering com session as well. So this will ensure that the program or the complex technical project will be running in a proper manner. With regards to hybrid modeling, so yeah, I think that is how we usually run things in Singapore. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah. I mean, main thing is when you're running a a complex project, technical project where you where the technology is emerging, you don't know much about what is happening, and we the lot of unknowns are there, and you don't have the right team, then it's become more work for you.
Correct.
And if I go back to my same program for the HP, and when I was given the program, I was coming with zero knowledge in cloud. I have no resources. I had one architect given. That's it. That's one person. I have no resources given, no money allocated, and so many things for all moving parts. But I'm glad to say I was late by only 6 days or 5 days in that project. But anyway, so that's a different story. One day I will talk about that. But yeah, you have when a complex program or project, you need to break it down into smaller pieces and align them in such a way that you manage the complexity, in a better way. You can actually take the advantage of complexity and make it in your favor.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So how to achieve performance when planning is not feasible?
Wow, this is interesting.
When planning is not feasible, you're not given enough time, and I will talk about this as well because I love this. That's why my project, the cloud data center, come given nothing, no time, unrealistic time frame. Anyway, let's hear from you first.
Well, I got one interesting one, which I think the user themselves do not know what they have purchased in terms of the requirement. They are also not aware of what kind of requirement they're looking at. So what happens is that, having said that, I think the start was the whole project started on the wrong direction, on the wrong foot, because the user do not know exactly what they have purchased. So having said that, there is no planning at all, nothing in terms of timeline, in terms of scope. There is nothing. It's only that they purchased these 2 to 3 boxes for their security in terms of appliances. So having said that, I did make a feedback to the user. If you're not aware what the capability of these boxes that you have purchased, then let's not talk about timeline and what is the scope of it. Let's understand from the basic. So we started off by doing what we call that a proof of concept in terms of what the product can do. So having said that, after explanation, then they start to realize that, oh, what exactly they need in terms of these boxes supposed to be doing in their environment. So having said that, with that done in terms of the proof of concept done within the 2 weeks, we quickly look into the requirement that is being required by the customer, by the user. With that, we look in terms of the cases or the scenario that we can provide, and we come out in terms of the the timeline, the schedule to meet. With that, we submitted our timeline based on our requirement. It's not the user requirement at all. So having said that, the user have to really read through to understand whether does our requirement based on what the box can do is in line with what they have in mind. So having said that, with that proposal submitted, I would say they have a review and they come back to us in terms of their proposed timeline and what they need in terms of requirement. Because I think on the initial part, I would say that the proposal submitted was, I think, pretty much in the wrong direction. In terms of the product capability, it's not very well spelled out. So as such, there is a need to do the POC, the proof of concept on what this box can do before we proceed to the actual kind of project execution based on the requirement that is being feedback from the customer and also the timeline that they're looking at. So I can say this is totally started on the wrong foot. Yeah. So in terms of requirement gathering, this has not been done proper. In terms of proposal, I would believe that somehow the solution architect has misinterpreted in certain sense. So as such, this leads to this kind of project starting on the wrong foot. So as such, we need to really do a reverse direction or to ensure that the proposal, the proof of concept are correct and the proposal is based on the requirement of the customer before we can proceed further. Yeah. So end of the day, the entire project was, I would say delayed, but somehow it of course missed their initial timeline because they themselves don't know how long it will take. So end of the day, we are late by almost approximately 3 to 4 months. Yeah. But the product is doing exactly what it is end of the day based on the POC that we have shown them. So somehow end of the day, it is something commendable that this is working as per what it is supposed to work rather than doing something it's not supposed to do. Yeah. So having said that, it somehow compensate us back in a way that they were telling us that at least you guys know what you're doing rather than blindly just install it, configure it, but it's not working to what they require. So yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens. Look, guys, we love talking about processes, follow this, follow that, and have your everything ready before we get started. And I'm one of them. As a trainer or mentor, I do talk about having all the schedule done, this and that, but going back to my own example, where my manager came to me, hey, look, Dharam, the first data center has to be ready by March, and second data center fully connected, both data center connected, populated by 20th of June or something like that. And here we're talking November of that year, 2009, I think 2009-10. And in between we have Christmas break. So and my manager looking at me, look, Dharam, I know it's a difficult timeline, but what do you think? I'm a new contractor. The program manager said, look, Bob, if you don't ask my schedule, if you don't ask my risk management plan, you don't ask me this, I think we can still do it.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, I have no resource given, no money allocated, no equipment we had. Only thing I know, the data center location is identified for first data center. I don't know where the second data center going to be. Very, very unknown. But what I did, telling Bob, my sponsor, or the program manager, or whatever you want to call it, I told him, look, yes, they're unrealistic time frame, and I highlighted the risk as well. And I also told him, look, there's a lot of stakeholder engagement required. And he said, Dharam, don't worry about stakeholder engagement. I will take care of that, and I will talk to my, the Asia Pacific leaders and this and that. So yes, I can take certain responsibility as a program manager, project manager. But at the same time, you need to escalate. You need to highlight to your manager and to the leaders. Yes, there's a risk involved in this, because at the end of the day, if something failure happen, they will be blaming it to you, because you are the one as a program manager, project manager. But if you have highlighted, then and you have documented, always think about documentation. Documentation, whether the issue log, change log, risk log, these are your insurance policies. You may feel, hey, too much documentation, too much work to be done. But at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, these are the documents which supports you.
Yeah. Correct.
So anyway, so yes, if we have to, time to time, we have to work on it, especially when the new technology emerging. And okay, guys, get together using agile methodology and minimum viable product out as soon as possible. With anyway, I don't know. We should be promoting that, not following the process part. But what I'm saying, you may not follow the process, but at least you highlight it in the right forum and let them or make them aware. Yes, there's a risk involved, and as long as they're willing to take the risk, you're good to go.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
All right. And guys, please feel free to be part of the conversation. You can add something, you can ask questions. That will be more beneficial than, I know you're listening, but if you ask questions, it will be more beneficial in terms of getting involved you in the discussion. Okay. Are today's business leaders ready to foster an innovative project environment in their organization? So my next question is, are the today's leaders ready to foster an innovative project environment in their organization?
This one, yes. I would say business leader nowadays are really looking into more innovation project environment in the organization. But having said that, of course, innovation project environment, what are we looking at? So even our organization currently is also looking into that. But in Singapore, there's quite a fair bit of a big organization looking towards that. So, but maybe pretty much this would be something new to the organization. They are also looking at ways to approach it, how to do it. So that's the critical part that's coming, how to do it. So of course, then naturally comes the stakeholders, whether the buy-in from all the various stakeholders. Having said that, how to do it as well to buy in from stakeholders, how long will it take to buy in from all the stakeholders to have this kind of innovative project environment, and whether will it be for long-term, short-term kind of environment that they're going to work on. So as such, there are a few initiatives that's happening in Singapore. Some of the bigger companies are looking towards that, building this kind of innovative kind of project environment for the stakeholders, various staffs, and so forth. But I would say it would be good to really have to start on this to build this kind of environment for the organization as well. Of course, this will not be in the short term happening within the next 3 to 5 years. It will be on a long-term basis, maybe 5 to 10 years down the road. So having said that, of course, there will be necessary to have all the buy-ins. I would say maybe at least 80% to have the stakeholder agree upon it to really start building on this, as this will be good in terms for the environment. And of course, to take note, this is not the rush job whereby while you expect something to happen within the first 1 to 2 years, it will be down the stream maybe 5 to 10 years down the road. And yeah, we have to be patient on that, because things don't happen overnight.
And the technology is changing, and you need, if you are the one who knows about technology, you need to convince your leaders why we should be moving into this. And that's where the business case is presented, and making them aware advantage and disadvantage of this technology, so that they can see from both angles. And if they make sense and they are willing to take risks, they may, okay, let's go ahead.
Correct. I mean, the very good example right now is on the cloud itself, because there's so many cloud platforms out there right now. You can see even for AWS, a bit Azure, a bit Google. So there are many companies. I mean, in local Singapore, there are a lot of companies also looking into ways and means to migrate into a cloud platform. But they have a question, is that how to do it. So what are the things that they can move into cloud? As we have discussed, cloud, in terms of cloud, to set up an infra is so much faster compared to the traditional on-premise, whereby you buy a box, you have a network switch, you have a router to sync up with all your servers to have the enterprise kind of setup. But in cloud itself, it's just a few clicks. You can have a VM inside, you can have a S3 bucket inside, you can link up with your VPN to connect out. It's pretty fast. Within that minutes, you have all this being done up. But having said that, like I said, the know-how is all about the know-how. How do they do it, or how does organization is able to do the part whereby to migrate into the cloud platform. That is the question right now, how to do it. So with us coming into the picture is to help them to see how we can better help them to migrate this accordingly as well. Because of course, one thing is number one, in terms of maintenance wise, is all in one glance. You can see all your so-called instances in the cloud environment. You can do the necessary patches, and all the necessary maintenance can be done there. In order to there's something that we have what we call the optimizing. You can increase your CPU size, your RAM size, things like that within that second. So it's pretty much convenient and faster rather than the traditional on-premise. But like I say again, this is on the how to do it, which is the question right now. Yeah. So yeah.
Good, thank you. And now we're learning a lot more about cloud.
I'm just guys,
I think some people, if they're not coming from non-IT backgrounds, they don't know what they're talking about. So yes, sometimes we get the discussion goes too technical, but yeah, please bear with us, and you'll get something out of this. Anyway, so my next question is, why must the project manager maintain technical credibility when dealing with project sponsor and other stakeholders?
My personal view is that as long as I'm a project manager and dealing with technical projects, I will try my very best to at least understand the basic. I mean, in order for us to really update the stakeholders and the project sponsor in a proper manner, because project sponsor and sometimes even the management team will not be too technical enough. So it's always good for us, or as a PM, to really break them down into smaller pieces to let them understand what exactly is happening. So what are the critical risks that we are looking at? Is there any technical challenges that we are facing? So they might not understand in terms of those technical terms. So up to us as a PM to really break down into layman terms to relate this risk accordingly to the stakeholders. So for me, I would say that it's rather important for a project manager to maintain the technical credibility, so that not only does it benefit himself, but also it will benefit to the various stakeholders in terms of understanding the progress and what has been done in terms of the project, and also the outcome, whether are we meeting or not meeting the project expectation from the end user. So I would say it's pretty important for us to have that. I would say that we need to be that subject matter expert, but at least to have the basic understanding and basic background. Yeah.
So if you don't have that knowledge, technical knowledge, what can you do?
We can only rely on the subject matter expert and slowly to understand from them. Because of course, in the project, in a bigger kind of project, there will be a subject matter expert or even the solution architect who is doing up all the solutioning. So for my case, I will usually take part in terms of understanding how the solution is being derived and what goes in where, what comes out from where, all this. I try to make sure I understand that. In terms of the build, I try to know exactly what is required for this particular project in terms of the build, so that we know that when we have the necessary equipment coming in or doing the necessary procurement, we know that the items that we procure are correct. So yeah, that's I would say that's important, necessary.
Yeah. So like in my case, I didn't have any understanding of cloud, so I used to take my architect and network engineer in the meeting with having some understanding, but I let them talk, explain the technology from. I was kind of bridging between two, because I know they don't understand technology and they're talking technology, but I have to kind of in between, I come between and explain them in my language, my style.
Correct.
Yeah.
So as a PM, we need to really make full use of the various stakeholders, be it the solution architect or even the technical lead, to really help to explain in terms of the technicality to the various stakeholders. Yeah.
Okay. I have an audience question here. Thanks for the nice talk. Question to Samuel. please tell if you got PMP certificate prior to taking PgMP exam, or if the knowledge of PMP helped you on the PgMP exam.
I would say yes. With the knowledge from PMP and my working experience, it definitely elevate in terms of the studying and understanding for PgMP. So I would say it's good to definitely to have PMP in place, because that shows that you have really done up the project management for that 4 to 5 years, and you have the experience to understand what's going on in terms of projects and how to manage a project. So with that, of course, moving into program, to take note that program is more about how you control the program itself, not about the team to run the project. So it's how you understand in terms of the program, how you break it down into the various track, how you do the strategy planning and so on. So I would say yes, of course, PMP is important to me because it really beef up my understanding and also elevate me in terms of learning, so that I can learn even faster. Because as you know, my last deadline for my PgMP was 31st August. It's only barely 3 months down the road. So with the understanding of project management, it really helps me to really pick up faster. As such, that's why I could clear it in 31st August back then. Yeah. So hope that answer your question on that. Yeah.
And so look, thanks for the answer, but I get to know, I get around 10% people coming to me with no prior experience, any certificate, sometimes no PMP, no agile, nothing. They want to do, because they have experience as a program manager, and they ask me question, do I or should I do PMP? Because now I'm running program for last 7 years, 10 years. You know, one thing is, having PMP will add more value. It will help you to fasten or learning of the concept, but that's not a showstopper. That's not a showstopper. Even if you don't have PMP, you can still understand the concept. I still ask you to go through PMBOK. Some particular, look, PMBOK is big document. I will ask you to read specific topics which I get to know from people like Samuel, other people. Hey, the questions are generally around these technology tools and technique. So I will ask you, tell you these are the topics you should focus on, and of course you go to focus on PGMP related topics. So not having PMP is not going to be a totally disadvantage to you. If you have a experience and you don't want to do PMP, that's still okay. You can still do PGMP. You have to, but yes, having PMP or not having PMP, equally can help you. No worries about that. Good, thanks for the question. All right, let me take another question. Wow, suddenly we start getting questions. Yay. Technical staff are usually not aware of, or sometimes do not want to follow project management process. How can you motivate them to cooperate and get involved in project management? You got a question?
Yeah, I mean, this is happening on a day-to-day basis. You can say that this is challenging in terms of getting staff like technical engineers to really follow your project management process. But having said that, I will try to really carve out in terms of the process on what I need from the technical engineers. As in, of course, I will do a start in terms of briefing them what is the whole project all about. Of course, in the project itself, there are various documentation, like what Dharam said. There's a lot of documentation need to be done up. No choice. I will have to force it down. Is that for technical engineers, when they do up the setup in terms of all the necessary configuration of switches, routers, and so forth, they need to provide the so-called the configuration documentation. So that is part of the requirement from the end user. So sad to say, but they need to provide this necessary document. And of course, we have the technical design document as well. So this is also part of the request from or so-called the requirement. So as such, usually I will assign the technical lead to so-called work with the junior one to come up with all this documentation. So it's not taxing on a singular person, but this job is being split into two to let them, to to understand how to get this to be done now. So like I say, especially documentation, engineers do not like documentation. They hate it to the core. So, but our nature of work, we definitely have to have all this in records. So there is no way out, but we just have to tell them nicely that, hey, this need to be done, and we have to do it in advance. I will give them ample time. If they don't have the amount of time required, I will also always seek the end user for maybe a couple of weeks more to really finish up the documentation. So other than that, the other rest of the processes in terms of going on to site to do all the configuration, the setup, and so forth, so long as we plan the timeline in accordance and to ensure that it doesn't clash with any other projects, I think engineers should be fine enough to really be on site to do all the necessary setup and implementation. So yeah, it's the critical part will be on the documentation, whereby they really hate it. So sad to say, but no choice. We have to force it out at times.
Yeah, sometimes the nature is there. You have to get it done faster, speed. Everybody looking for that. Get it done. Don't worry with documentation. But at the same time, you have to kind of motivate them to use it. Or the question is asking, how do you motivate them? You have to show them value. You have to show them value of why should you use the risk register? Why should you have an issue register, or why should you have a change request raised in this specific format? Just if you try to impose them, hey guys, no matter what, you have to do it. People hate, when the direction comes, because the organization is saying, demanding. But if you show them the value of the process you have to follow, then things can be different. And motivate them or work with them. They make mistakes, that's okay. Then guide them, handhold them, and encourage them. Okay, you know what? That's okay. You didn't do as expected, but next time we'll work on this.
Agree.
Yeah. All right. So I'm getting more questions now. It's a good thing. Keep putting your questions. Let me come back to the questions. And one more question I have for you, Samuel. And the question is, as a project manager, how do I develop and display business acumen that is customer-centric and strategic?
All right. This one. As a PM, I myself, how to take it on here? So we are being so-called trained in a way to really understand the business need as a PM ourselves. In my previous organization, as I was a PM there. So as we are doing projects, we get in touch with all the so-called various stakeholders from end user end. We get to know them. We get to know their business strategy. So from here, I pick up and develop in a sense of a business acumen to understand what is required. So there's a very good example that a few years back, when I was doing this post about 6 million project. So as we are doing it, we get a bigger picture from the end user that, hey, Samuel, we are going to add on more. So how can we go about doing that? So as we progress, while the team start to do all the implementation, while I take up this challenge with the business development manager to understand from the user. So we have to understand the bigger picture, as in what is the direction that the end user is heading. We have to understand what is their pain point that they need, to understand what can we do to help them, and how can we value add to them. It's not basically on the relationship between us as we are the implementer, they are the end user, but more of a strategic partner to understand how can we better add to improve maybe their entire enterprise system, to improve their backbone infra, to help them to migrate to even cloud platform as well. So it's after many years of discussion and working with all the various stakeholders from all the various agencies that I managed to develop this kind of business acumen with in a way that I get to know how I can detect this kind of new business requirement from them. Yeah. So I would say it's by nature, but it's after years of experience and years of doing it. That's why I managed to have that being done up in a way. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to put the PDU code on the chat. Everybody, please take a note of that. And people watching the video after the webinar, you have to send me email, tell me that you watched the video, and tell me how good I was. Samuel was, not really, but yes, you send an email, and I will reply back to you with the PDU code. So please look at the chat, and you can note down the course identifier and the PDU code claim. So take a note of that, take a screenshot, and if you missed out, let me know. I will send you again. And other thing is, from February onward, I have a plan to go around many countries, which I'm looking forward. And Australia is one country I'm going. It's Australia is my second home. I have spent 22 years in Australia, and now currently I'm in Dallas in America. So February, March, I will be in Sydney, Melbourne, hopefully Brisbane, running PgMP, PfMP, and PMP courses. Then I have a program for Hong Kong coming up. That's more virtual, but and I have a program coming up for Italy and Germany, Saudi Arabia. And if you think that I should be coming to Malaysia, Singapore, and any other places, please let me know. I will be happy to. May not have it immediately, but I can plan out some programs. So love going around the world. This is the way I can travel and meet people. So this physical boot camp I started just now, basically after COVID period. And as you know, we are not able to run anything physical. So I'm start taking some courageous step to go out and run my programs. It's not, I'm not used to of the physical program now, but I'm sure it will be exciting. But anyway, so if you do decide to join my program, I'm happy to have you there. And I have shared one link previously, and you can look at some different categories. If you are part of a particular chapter, let's say PMI Melbourne chapter, PMI Queensland chapter, or maybe some other chapter, we have some relationship with them, and based on that, you can save up to 20% discount. If you are coming from ex-army or ex-officer, you can tell me that this is my background. I will offer you a discount up to 20% discount. And if your background, if you have some unfortunate situation happen, you lost a job or something, please let me know. I'll be helping you there. A woman professional, definitely recognizing you being as a women profession, and physically or mentally or any handicap. I don't want to talk about, but anything, any disability you have, let me know. So anything I can help you from my side, as a let me know, and I will try to give you as much discount as I can. If you have any problem paying upfront, I can do some payment plan for you. So don't hesitate. Any situation you have, communicate, book a time with me and talk to me. Dharam, this is my situation. What can I do? Even if you don't take my program, doesn't matter. But important is you get something out of me, and where the discussion is going to happen with me. So always look for the invite, meeting, book a 15-20 minutes, and we'll go through your question and your scenario. Anyway, so we are not done yet. I know the time is almost up, but we have a few questions, audience questions, sure. And let me take those questions. So Ishan is asking how to enter a new domain as a project manager. Sometimes we have new or better opportunities, but we cannot go into that because we don't know much about that. But at the same time, we don't know how to deal with it.
New domain.
I mean, if you try yourself, but I've changed my role many times, from web-based development to the data center to setting the cloud or to moving the towers. I can actually talk more into that area. And if you look at my resume, resume means you can look at my LinkedIn profile. You can see how every time I change a job, I was doing something different, not the same. And maybe coming from pure network related project to the setting the data center. So look, all this is important to have some technical background, but this should not be a showstopper for you. Okay. And of course, when you're presenting your resume, make sure you are addressing those points. They like to see how can you add value to my project. And if you can relate, okay, you're looking for, let's say, cloud data center, cloud experience. And I had no cloud experience, but I put my resume to show that I've done data center migration, data center relocation. So highlight the fact what you did and how you will add value to them. And another thing is they're not only looking for your technical expertise, but they're looking for attitude towards learning and how can you get into the role faster. The learning curve, how fast you can learn and get yourself into this new role. So, coming back to my cloud experience, when my interview lasted only 20 minutes, and they asked me few questions around my relocation, this and that, data center migration, but they didn't ask me about cloud because they knew that I have no idea about cloud. And within 20 minutes, yep, we are okay, and you can go now. And I was worried maybe I didn't got the chance, I missed out the interview. But my recruitment agent called me immediately. Hey, Dharam, you got the job, and when can you start? So yeah, don't get worried because I don't have that particular background. Yes, you brush up your knowledge, understand it, and think about some real life example. What and how can you help them in this situation?
I would say most important is on the attitude of the how do you approach in terms of engaging to new domain and new environment. It's always about the attitude, the willingness to really learn, and how you can what Dharam say, value add, or how can you better cope with that. For project managers, you don't need to be a technical expert for all domains, not necessary. When you're going to a new domain, they're looking in terms of project management skills that you might have, rather than the technical skill set that you will have. So for myself, I've been transforming myself from infra to system, and also now I'm doing cloud and data center. So it's not about new domain, but it's more about the attitude that you have. How willing are you to give the extra effort to learn more and put your best feet forward? I would say that will help you in terms of going into the new domain or new environment. Yeah.
Great, thank you. My next question from Vladimir. Please share your experience on PgMP review, the panel review board. What is challenging, easy, any unexpected situation you faced during the panel review? Let me start with this, and then I will hand over to you. Look, panel review is first of all, it's not that you're going to be interviewed by somebody. You're not going to get a call from somebody. It is about there are 5 questions PMI already set, and you have 2 options. You pick one of the options, and you explain as best as possible, and with giving some examples in your application itself. So when we talk about panel review, somebody will review those 5 questions, response to the 5 questions.
Yep.
And if you have done the good job, if you have, I can help you with your application, as part of my program, I do provide the application support, or you can just take my mentorship for application support only. And I'll give you some example and a video where I'm telling what to do, what not to do, and a document called PgMP Application Support Handbook. All this will help you to put together your application in a particular expected format. I will tell you what I'm expecting, what PMI expect from you. And once you've done the job, I will review it, analyze it, and help you out. And once we both are happy, you submit the application. Yes, it can happen that if you have not done the good job in PMI, it's not a good job. It's not about what you've done. It's about how you presented yourself. And if you've done the presentation properly, then the process is very smooth. Okay. I hope this makes sense. And yeah, if you want to add something, Samuel.
Yeah, I just want to add on. For my this submission in terms of this panel review, I did 4 attempts and I get it clear on the 4th attempt. So for the first 3 attempts, I did not write as good. So basically, there will be advice from the PMI as well, but they will tell you in terms of do take note that this is more in terms of a program, not a project. You should be focusing on how you do it, how you define it. So there are pretty much a few questions like the strategic program management. There will be a few options, as in how do you manage the particular program, as in like monitor the business environment, what is the program goal, the benefit realization plan, and so forth. So you need to pick the one that you are submitting based on the program that you're submitting, and also to really put it in a way that is how you execute them accordingly. It's not about the team anymore. It's more about how you think about it. And end of the day, in terms of the program, what has it been achieved? What is the what do you call it? The improvement that has been implemented. So pretty much that would help you answer a few in terms of the benefit realization plan, something along that line. Yeah. So you need to really prep yourself well in terms of putting in the so-called the answers back to PMI. So PMI is good. They will advise you accordingly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I must say, like, don't try it out. Like, Samuel take 4 attempts and probably a lot of time wasted in that. It is not that difficult as it seems, and it can, if you don't do the right thing, it can take a lot of time and frustration. So I can help you, as I mentioned. First thing first, book time with me and understand how I'm going to help you in the whole process, and I will talk you through, and I will get it. This is easy part. While it seems difficult, but believe me, it is done. It can be done easily. Of course, I'm saying it, but it doesn't mean you have to put right words and right format and right.
Yeah, correct. It is about putting the right word in the right place. Yeah, it's about the formatting, doing it correctly. So I think given Dharam's experience in this, definitely you can clear this within the first submission. So definitely, of course, you have to do your work proper. Once you submit, when you're comfortable with it, of course, get Dharam to review it. With that, I would say that definitely it would be good to go in the first attempt. Yeah. So not to worry, this is nothing difficult. Yeah, because my submission is purely myself doing it on my own without any help. So definitely it will take me some time to get it done. Yeah.
Yeah, I do get a lot of people coming to me. Dharam, I tried, and PMI rejected my application. What can I do? So, I mean, it's okay. I will help, but the second time is more difficult because the problem with their feedback, they don't give you exact feedback. They just tell you, they give you 100 lines email, and now you have to figure it out. And in that case, I have to go word by word to make sure what they're saying in every question. It's not one question. We don't know which question they talked about. Every question, we kind of revise everything. So that's where the difficult part. So you still, before you put your application, contact me, and let's work it out and do it properly and get it done. Okay. Samuel, I do have a few questions came registered during the registration time, and let me take them. And I know we are out of time, but please allow me to go through them. A very interesting question, and this is about the new technology, ChatGPT. I'm still exploring whether ChatGPT going to be the next big disruptive technology that will have major impact on technical organization. The question coming from Tamara from Sydney, Australia.
Wow. Okay. I have done a very read up. This technology is just launched last year, November 2022. So it is rather too early to say whether it will cause any major disruption. But for any new technology that is upcoming, of course, those tech organizations will really start to review it. They will look into it, get their R&D team to really start working on it to see what benefits can they have out of this particular chat GRP. So having said that, it's pretty new, so it is too early to make a conclusion whether it will be disruptive or non-disruptive. But of course, organization will look into it to do R&D, see what is the benefits that it will provide. As this technology is more in terms of the AI, the AI domain. So having said that, of course, there will be a lot of so-called research being done, a lot of testing being done, and things like that going on. So definitely we will expect something to happen maybe a couple of years to see how much it will evolve into. But as of now, we really can't say that it will be a major disruptive to the tech organization. I can put that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best thing is look around for more information, and it may be useful for your organization. Hey, and it may not be useful to your organization, but just do your own research. And if this makes sense before it become, I mean, currently is new. Of course, maybe some problems. May have some problems, but try to explore yourself and see if that makes sense for you to apply in your organization. All right, my next question is, what happens when a new technology emerges that customer reject because it does not address their need as effectively as company's current approach? The question coming from Paul, New York, from New York. Yeah, so this question, over to you.
I have so-called, I would say I have something that I have bumped into something similar in that way, whereby we're doing some new trials with a organization, but after looking into it, they were saying that they don't really need that. So with such comments from the so-called end user, we have to go back and start to rethink what are they looking at. So having said that, it doesn't mean that new technology will be accepted by all tech companies or tech firms. It really depends on what are their requirements in terms of the new technology. So it will also be dependent on the direction on their management or the top management deciding whether are they going to go around with the new technologies upcoming. So having said that, it really boils down to what is the requirement from the end user themselves, or what are they looking at to benefit from the new technology. But if they do not need this particular technology, of course they will choose to reject it totally, and they will really look for some other alternative instead of using this particular technology. So yeah, it really depends on, boils down to the top management decision from the organization as well. Yeah.
Yeah, other thing is just because sometimes we don't have full understanding about the product or technology, so it's good to do your own research and find out how it is going to add value to us, not going to add value, maybe do some mapping. Okay, this feature was what we're looking for, and maybe do some proof of concept, maybe run some small pilot. And I will suggest you run the pilot, because before you jump into that, hey, let me try it out on the whole organization. Let's run it and then pilot and small group. Then if you start getting the benefit, expected benefit, then you roll it out, as you may have some, maybe small group again, then you are maybe big bang if you feel that you are comfortable with that. All right, so my last question. The question is saying, let's say if I don't have a particular experience, Python, AI, then how can I work as a technical project manager?
Good one. I have the same problem. I have the same problem. I don't have experience in the Google right now. They are what they call the Tenables, Ansible. I do not have any experience on that. So, but we are embarking on something on the automation part, and these two particular programs are very critical. So having said that, I have no choice but to leave it to the technical leads to really understand how to do it. Good to say that I have a very good and strong technical lead who knows all this setup. So he's able to do, using this Ansible and Tenable, to do all the necessary scripting to do the automation as per required. So having said that, we need to have the right person with the right skill set. Project manager himself, I would not say we need to really roll our sleeve to really do those programming in this manner, but we need to rely on the right skill set of the technical leads to really run this. With having said that, we are now building a team around him to make sure that we have the understanding in terms of all these Tenables, Ansible, so that come one day we can archive all this scripting into a folder, whereby once we need this, we can really take them out and do all the necessary parameter changes accordingly as well. So having said that, you don't need to really be the subject matter expert for Python or whatever programs that you need to have. But of course, we rely on the technical leads, the technical engineers to have the skill set to really run them accordingly, so that you can plan out the timeline in accordance. And with that, of course, we can meet the timeline to the end user. So it's really on how we can so-called utilize the right resources for the right job. That's what I can say. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's better to be upfront when you're going through the interview process. You know, if they ask you your Python or a particular technology, if you have never worked in that, let them know, look, I have not worked in this area, but I have worked in other areas, and you give them an example how it was new to you and you excel in that area by your commitment and learning. Because at the end of the day, they like to see how, you know, not only what you know, but how can you grasp the knowledge and help me from, you know, may not be immediately, but sooner. It will be a steep learning curve for you, but that's what you're going to show. Look, I have to do this. I will be doing it, and I will be learning, going through the website and learn from other people, or have my technical expert and talk to them. So that's where you're going to give them confidence. That's okay. I don't have that background, but I will learn from that. All right. Okay, I think there's more. What is, in your opinion, are the key skill and expertise required for a technical project manager?
For me, in terms of key skill, I would say very importantly is I always find that communication is very important. So the effective communicating towards what you expect or how you want to run the project to your technical leads or technical engineers to make sure that they know what's going on. In terms of technical aspects, like I mentioned, we cannot be the subject matter expert. Yeah, so I mentioned that it is more mainly on the effective communication rather than other kind of skill set. But of course, we need to have some basic understanding in terms to run projects. So technical project manager, like I have stated, is good to have some basic understanding in terms of the technical aspects. But I would say the key skill set, of course, will be the effectiveness in terms of communicating to your peers, to your stakeholders, and to your technical leads and engineers who is running the project for you. So that's more important. Yeah.
All right, great. I think we already time out, and but I think we covered all the questions from audience. And thank you for asking questions, guys. It's good to have these questions and discussion. And thank you, Samuel. You have been very generous in expressing your sharing your knowledge, and it was wonderful talking with you. And thank you for all the people who shown the interest and stayed up to even the late. And that shows that you have interest in the topic. And also, as I suggested earlier, I mean, I've shared the PDU code. If you don't have, let me know. And the links I provided you, go to those links. You will learn how to do the PgMP PfMP. And the link I provided you where you can see some discount, what kind of discount you can apply for my courses. And if you feel that I should be coming to your city or country, or I should run a program for your company, or let me know, book a time with me and we can go through your requirement. All right, I think that's it from now. And 2 weeks from now, I will have another exciting webinar. So keep an eye on the webinars, coming up webinars. So keep joining, keep learning, and keep enjoying your life. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Thank you all.
Bye now.